This is my Amazon Mini Jeep, and this thing absolutely sucks. Not only is it extremely underpowered and unreliable, it's made of plastic, and the frame is so laughable it's not even worth building on. So today we're gonna fix all that. We have this massive Toyota Tacoma engine that came out of a Toyota truck, transmission and transfer case, so we're gonna shove all this in, well, not that. We're gonna shove it in our all-metal Mini Jeep. We built this thing last episode and it is absolutely insane. This is 14 gauge steel. It is tough as nails and it's definitely not gonna break when you look at it. And to hold this engine in this body, we're gonna have to build an insane chassis, which leads us to this. This is a real rock crawler chassis that we built in this episode. This thing has 3/16 DOM tubing as the bottom. It is absolutely built like a tank and it's gonna withstand any and all trails we throw at it. So, you guys like the look of all this? Let's get started building. All right, first things first, it's been so long since I worked, It's been so long since I worked on this thing. I need to take some measurements and make sure that I'm building this chassis to the right dimensions. So it's looking like the chassis, like I remember, is gonna be 40 inches wide. We're gonna go ahead, get some tube out, start cutting those to length, start notching them, and we are going to make this initial little square for the chassis, and we'll just start building off that every which way. And this is the big burly stuff. This is 3/16 wall, 1.5 inch, gnarly steel. Sweet. Excitement is in the air. First two pieces for this chassis are cut. That belt removes a little bit of metal. So we have these prepped all the way down to bare steel. These are our front back frame rails. We're gonna go ahead and cut those other ones, the side to side frame rails. These are 3/16 because these may get smashed on by rocks. Those ones will be 1/8 wall because those ones will not be smashed on by rocks. So yeah, we'll get those cut. We'll get everything notched and we will just weld these together and we can really start seeing the structure. Now we have our welding table back. Also, real quick, shout out to efwfab for hooking us up with this welding table. But even more shout out to you guys because we are so close to getting them to 1,500 followers on Instagram, which means we'll get a full-size 4x8 chassis table. All right, I'm gonna notch these. So I am guilty of getting excited and welding this in completely the wrong spot. So we tore it apart and now we're gonna put it in the right spot. Basically, these front and rear rails are going to be maxed out on the tubes all the way front and all the way back. And then we're gonna make a cradle underneath them. And that's where the transfer case will end up sitting. And the transmission will actually come through one of these sides. So we're gonna end up cutting out one of these sides. As you can see it kind of come together here. This will be back here. And assuming this is the front, the transmission will be coming right through here. So we'll cut this out and do some triangulation and cut stuff out of where it doesn't need to be and put stuff in where it does. And basically it's just a bunch of getting this put together. And now I'm gonna build this in the right spot. Idiot. It's looking like a weld. We got one at least welded tube now, yay. All right. Need to tack this other side and we can kind of get an idea of what this is going to look like under there. And I did bring home the engine. We do have the transmission, I do have the transfer case, and I do have the adapter, so maybe we can look at the drivetrain as well. It's gonna be gnarly. Oh, are we gonna come here? Who's the good boys? Come here. Oh, we got guest stars, we got Carnage, and we got Colby, the shop dogs. Can't forget about the shop dogs. They're the only reason I come to work every day. Make them happy. Have you ever just Googled your name? Because I just did, and it's actually insane how much my personal information is just out here on the internet for absolutely anyone to have. Like, you can just look at how much of my information is here for anyone to get, and it's pretty insane. My address, my phone number, my email, all of it's just out here for anyone to have. And on that note, if you ever wonder how scammers get your phone number or why your inbox is absolutely slammed with spam mail, this is why. There's tons of companies out there called data brokers, and all they do is make money by selling your data. And it's actually insane that they can do this legally without your consent. These guys make billions of dollars every year selling data to scammers, marketers, and sometimes even stalkers. Now, what not a lot of people know is they're legally required to remove this information if you just ask, but they make this process confusing and hard on purpose. And this is why I recommend today's video sponsor, Aura, to all my friends and family. These guys take care of the hard part and they automatically remove your information from these sites and they keep it off. It really is insane how much of a noticeable decrease in spam callers and spam emails I've had since I've signed up with Aura. It's legitimately had a noticeable impact on my day-to-day life since I'm no longer running around the shop trying to answer a phone call that just turns out to be a robocaller or a scammer asking if I have Medicare Part A and B. And while you might already have a digital security tool, it's probably not enough. Aura is so much more than a digital security tool because it's an all-in-one digital security solution. Not having Aura is like locking your front door but leaving the back door wide open. Aura gives you alerts if your personal information is found on the dark web, and it has real-time fraud alerts for credit and banking. It also has 24/7 monitoring to keep your identity secure, and it even has a secure VPN, antivirus, password manager, and more. Aura also has US-based support that is available around the clock if something does go wrong. And on the off chance something does happen, Aura includes $5 million in identity theft insurance protection. They also have US fraud experts ready to help around the clock. And the best part is there's just one app for every layer of protection. At the end of the day, it really pisses me off that these companies are ripping me off and selling my data for profit, which is why I choose Aura. Try Aura free for 14 days at aura.com/fabworks. Over the course of the 2 weeks, you will discover that your data is being exposed and sold. I'm not leaving myself vulnerable, and you shouldn't either. Thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get back to work. We have this welded. That's hot still, don't touch. We just pretty roughly welded this together. But before we can go really kung-ho and building chassis, we need to get the engine trans T-case all bolted together and mocked up under this body. This is gonna be the drivetrain for our mini Jeep. Now, it doesn't look very mini, but it is a pretty small combination all said and done. This is a Toyota 2.7 3RZ made to do an automatic transmission, and this is the transfer case that came behind this auto, but we're gonna be using this, and this is a Toyota gear drive transfer case that comes in the older trucks. It's a stock reduction now, but we're gonna have 4.7 to 1 in it, but it does have the correct 23 spline input. Now, we had to track down this transmission, and it's actually harder to find than you would expect. So let me show you what we did for that, and show you a good buddy of mine, Bobby from efwfab, his shop, and we'll go over there and I'll show you how we got this thing. All right, we're here at efwfab in, where are we? Prescott, Arizona?
Prescott, Arizona.
Yeah, so if you're in the Flagstaff, Phoenix, Prescott, Chino Valley area, this is the place to come for all your old Toyota stuff. Now we're here because, contrary to popular belief, 4-cylinder Toyota automatic transmissions aren't very easy to come by. So we got ourselves an automatic transmission for this little mini Jeep, and
I didn't want it, so he could have it.
I'm very thankful. What do you do here?
We solid axle swap Toyotas a lot. Make custom parts. We get them to drive good. We get them to wheel good. Solid axle swaps. We lift trucks or do re-gears. Been doing it for a lot of years, and like to think we're good at it by now. So if you're in the Prescott area, we'd love to help you out.
Tell me, what's this thing?
So it's an 85. They come solid axle from factory, as you know, but they don't off-road too good. So the front end is done-ish. You can see the leafs are all broken down. We like to cycle it and make sure the bump's all set correctly. The shock is cycling correctly. Steering is adequately clearing the leaf, and it's almost ready to go back together. We're just gonna get the bump stops on. Axle's fully built. It's got gears, ARBs, chromoly inner axles, all the good stuff.
Looks good.
Upgraded brakes.
We are going to go ahead and use this to kind of see what it's going to look like in the Jeep. So I measured, and this transfer case is the same as that transfer case, so that's not a big deal. But we will be putting that transfer case on, and in order to do that, we have to use this. Now this is a billet adapter that we can run behind that transmission that will let us bolt up that transfer case to it. We have this coupler, we have everything that's needed to install it, and we got this from LC Engineering. Those boys are always hooking it up. They're always making sure that we're taken care of, along with a huge amount of the Toyota community. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and get the body cut off the hood so that we can see what it is gonna look like under here. We'll take off this intake manifold because we're gonna be running a different intake manifold, front facing one, so that we don't have this coming over the engine. We have a lot to do, but we'll just get this stripped down a little more and kind of see what it's gonna look like in the Mini Jeep. Wow. Yeah, so I guess let's cut this hood off. Ejecto hoodo, cuz. So we need to get the body up a little bit compared to the engine, but it technically fits just like that. We got a Mini Jeep with an engine and a real transmission, transfer case and the whole nine. This is crazy, actually. I never expected. So we're gonna get this blocked up to try and get a relevant height and understand where everything's really gonna be, because I don't want that to be so out of the hood. Ideally, we get it under the hood. So as you can see, it's working, I think. I have a very rough idea as to how I want to proceed with the chassis. I think I can make everything fit. If I do need to, I will end up pushing this this grill maybe 1 or 2 inches forward. It might require me making a new grill, but I'm okay with that. But everything looks like it's gonna fit. This is crazy. We have now cut the lower cradle. This is basically gonna be like the skid plate versus all the rocks that protects the engine and trans. So it's all 3/16 wall, super thick, super burly. And yeah, we have it all cut. Now we're just clamping it in place and welding it up, and we'll have this little square, another square, 2 squares, but I swear it's gonna make sense in a minute. So now you may be able to see the frame will be here and that will be down there, and that's essentially the skid plate and where we're gonna mount the lower links, trans mount, all the stuff. So as of right now, everything's kind of upside down. This is the forward of the vehicle, this is the rear. I guess it doesn't matter right now, but we have this centered and we have it in the plane we wanted in. That's why we cut all these brackets. They're just elevating it to the perfect plane. So this is our belly skid pan, this is our frame, and we're gonna be putting some supports up from these corners to this corner, and that will just kind of be the chassis. This will really be the center core section of everything we build off of, the roll cage, the links, everything. So as of right now, what we need to do is we need to run some tubes from here up to here on all 4 corners and get this all connected. I use this just big square and roughed in the angle, and it's gonna be 30 degrees. So we're gonna cut 30 degrees long to short. I'll take a number, start just notching tube. We are doing all of this out of 3/16 wall tubing so that we can smash it as many times, and hopefully we don't have too much damage in the long run of this machine. This tub is officially ready to turn upside down and see what it's gonna look like. This is the chassis. This is the start of it. It's nice and flat, not rocking on our nice flat TRK fab table. This is sick. I am very excited, and it's looking good. So the engine will be over here. We're gonna have to cut this and we'll go in with some supports here to keep this bar strong. And then in theory, our engine should be able to just sit here. Trans will be coming through here, and our T-case will, output shaft will be basically right under this bar back here. I'll lop out of here. So I will make some room, come over here, mark it out, and make it to where we're cutting 20 inches out of this thing. And 10 inches either side. I'm wanting to run a tube at a 45 right here. Gonna get the speed square here, use the tape measure, and we're going for 13 inches long point to long point of a 45. It didn't move very much when I cut it, like almost at all, so I am confident we can cut this side out and it won't affect how everything is. It will need another reinforcement down here, and it's gonna need beefed. I decided to cut it out. We have now got the chassis pretty well started. We're gonna go ahead and take it over here, try and shove it under the transmission, which will be really hard, and then set the body on top just to really get an idea of what everything, how it's all gonna jive together. And with that information, I can make a lot of changes, modifications, and start to think about how we're gonna mount the engine, how we're gonna mount the trans, the T-case, and just how everything's gonna go, where I need support, where we need no support, you know the deal. So. All right, so we're gonna be lifting this up. I'm gonna get a bigger strap. All right, round 2 with no broken strap this time, I swear. Well, I guess I can't promise it, but yep, we're good. So we just need to slide this in from the back. Okay. This sure would be easier if I was just building a chassis around an engine and not a chassis around a Jeep body, but here we are. It'll still be really freaking cool. Now we put this on that. Huh, we're not gonna have the engine that low. The engine will be up a little bit. This is sick. This is not correct where the engine will be, but other than that, everything kind of is where it will be, and it's looking snazzy. Yeah, I want the engine as forward as possible for rear drive shaft length, because it's already gonna be short. We're gonna have a center support bearing in the front drive shaft, so the front drive shaft will come here, and right about here we'll have a center support bearing, so this will just be a solid drive shaft, and then our slip will be in front of that. The front axle will probably, front of it will be probably about in line with the grill, so that the differential comes up here, which is where the sump won't be, because it's gonna be a rear sump. What we are gonna do is we're gonna come with the tube all the way up here, come here, down, run it long, and we're gonna come here with the tube, same thing, up high, and we're gonna go ahead and turn it down as fast as we can and bring it back here, and then I'll connect these with a tube there. All that being said, we're gonna head over to the Rogue Fab tubing bender. We're gonna start cutting tube, we're gonna start bending tube, and we're gonna start figuring it out. I got my angle finder here, so this will be the first thing here. Turn it on, see what we're working with, and we're working with a 45-degree angle. So we'll go bend a tube to 45 degrees and make sure we have enough on both sides and just start making this work. I'm excited. It's really gonna come together now. All right, let's try out this new bender. Got this, so it's 5 1/4 offset to the beginning of the bend. The bend is gonna take 3.5 inches. I have no Sharpie. The great thing about these Rogue Fab benders is they have a whole cheat sheet online as to how to make it easy to bend this. I'm just gonna kind of send it, figure it out along the way, because that's not usually what I do, but that's what we're doing today. We now have this cut, and we're about to make the first bend in our new Rogue Fab bender, and I'm excited about it, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, we're gonna bend this to 45 degrees. All right, I want 2 more degrees. 2 more degrees. One of the big selling points on this Rogue Fab bender is the easily repeatable bends on different tubes, because you can buy more than one block. So we marked out here on the sheet metal where we need to cut out the inside lip so that we can actually weld to the tube in here. So I got it marked here, transfer it over to the other side, notch out the sheet metal on both sides, and we'll notch this tube and get them tacked in there right where they need to go. Tubes, welding, fabrication, woo! Perfect. Clean that up later. Copy that on the other side. We'll be good to go. So how we're gonna notch this is I set this up here, and I've made a mark here, which is relevant to my mark there. So I can now just take my tape and measure what I want the long point to be, which is 20.5. And from this mark here, I'll measure 20.5. Just like that, we have our long point marked out. So we can take it over the tube notcher and notch it there, and it should fit in here perfectly, and we can tack it in here. We will just go ahead and make sure that it's the same on the other side, and we'll do them both at the same time. Everything's looking pretty good. I think we're gonna weld this. So I removed the grill so that we can mark the exact length that these tubes are gonna be, and I put the grill back so that when we weld this in here, the front clip is where it wants to be. because without the front grille, just kind of goes willy-nilly. And I know the front grille is cohesive with the hood, which is over there. But we'll tack this all in place. So we'll set the hood on it to make sure everything's still happy when it's all, you know, assembled. And then we'll be good. We'll be running. We'll be ready to just start really reinforcing this and making tubes happen. That one is tacked in place. We need to get the other side in. Now that we got these front two tubes tacked in place, we can start dealing with the rear tube. So this is going to be the start of the rear half of this chassis. The plan is to come here and then just hook it down with a 90 and actually come in as close to this as possible. So we'll just die it in right here, come up and back, and then we'll connect these tubes there. And that will start the whole basis of this entire thing. And then we can pull the body off, put some more tubes in, and really start thinking about the rest of the reinforcement. Make sure this thing is rollover proof. That's hot. Got those notched, go bend the tubes. $90 degrees in one shot is also nice. It'll work. All right, let's do one more of these. I like this new bender I got. This efwfab bender is really sick. My old JD2 bender was cooked, and I do much prefer the way this one bends, lays out tubes, and just everything about it. I very much so enjoy the efwfab bender. And just like that, we have the rear tubes, the two of them that are kind of the body panel attachers. That's really all this is. I guess I didn't explain that. All these two tubes are, and those two tubes are just the main pieces that we're gonna attach body panels to, and they are the main part of the whole chassis, but that's why they were such a pain to get perfectly right, is because that's what we, depend on to mount the body to the chassis. Now that we have this thing on the table, we can really start reinforcing everything and start to weld some stuff out. We're gonna put a bar here. We're looking at somewhere in the 24¼ range. Mark the same thing over here. And again, we start bending tube and notching tube and doing tube stuff. Yeah, it's gonna be good. I'm excited. Good. This will tie. Now that we have it all reinforced, I'm no longer scared of it going anywhere. Well, it's not very reinforced, but it's reinforced enough that it's probably not going to go anywhere. So we'll take this off. I have marked out a couple places that I want to cut some more of this sheet metal out, and we're going to really start strengthening this thing up, and yeah, and it's going to start really come together as a full-blown chassis. This isn't going to be one of those builds that gets built and used like 6 times. This thing is basically going to be my daily driver when it comes to rock crawling and off-roading. We're going to take it everywhere. King of the Hammers, Johnson Valley, Sand Hollow, Moab, you name it, we'll be there. East of Jeep Safari. I'm excited. So yeah, maybe we'll even make it out to Trail Hero this year. That's not for a few more months. I'm not sure how much progress we'll make in the next few months, but hopefully it's a lot. It's starting to look like something, a little bit, kinda. So the immediate plan right now is we need to stiffen this up because, well, there's nothing holding these together. So we're gonna do that by not only putting a bar in between up here, but we are going to go ahead and go from down here up to this to make this a really solid point that's tied to everything, because this is going to be where our roll cage ends up getting tied into. So we're going to make this tied together, go down, and then this will ultimately also get some sort of X. This may get something up here, and then this will tie into that. I'm not sure how it's going to go. It's going to be strong, like super strong. This is going to be a little bit of a tunnel here because that's a trans tunnel, and then back here what I want to do is I actually don't know yet. I'm not sure how much this is going to get back here or what it's going to get. It may just end up getting a tube across here and then tied into the roll cage, and that will be a lot. It'll get tied in here and here. makes adjusting this like so easy. All right then, too big for both sides. It looks good of the one we already made though. So all we gotta do is replicate it. So more than likely, we will end up going from here up to here and the same thing over here. And that will just tie everything in, but I wanna make sure that we don't need to get anything through there first. But I shouldn't even stress about it because I might not want to go. Yeah, I will stress about it. I probably won't go to the center because we may get in the way of the bell housing. But we're making really good progress, and what I want to do next is, since we've got all of this in here now, I'm going to come from here up to just reinforce this, because this is where our air shock and all the suspension weight will be leveraged from right here. The roll cage will come out of right here, so we just triangulate this. This will all be a nice stiff unit. Stiff unit. We now have our stiff backs, our little strengtheners, triangulation installed. So this is a lot stronger, but what we want to do now is go from here out to here. I want to really just tie the end of this into this, because our coilovers or air shocks, whatever, our suspension is going to mount way far up here, because not only is our suspension going to be up here, but the axle is going to be way over here since we have an engine in the way. So what we need to do that is cut the body up. We need to come over here and take our dash and cut it off the body. So we'll cut the tack welds after we do 2 bolts in either side so that it's kind of keyed into itself. Came off easier than I expected. All right, that side wasn't quite as easy, but we got her done. Go back on, bolt it together, and it won't just be super floppy like that. But now that it is super floppy like that, it's gonna be super easy to put onto the body over there. So let's go get it installed. To reinforce these rear bars, this is basically the rear of the chassis where the cage is going to tie in. We're going to go ahead and get a tube, come out, come down into 45 and die it in here as close to this as we can get it, and it'll just give maximum support to this whole situation and add a ton of support, because we will also be coming off of this with the cage, and the whole cage wrapping into this will also very much so reinforce it.
Rebel soul child got a fist ball, I'm a respawn of ancestors and I'm blessed on. They are not him, tell him fess up, I get check stub, hella carefree, nothing scares me, hella
like this, it's gonna work. So we'll do 1 more of these and then we'll really start the notching thing. These are gonna be this notch will be easy, just 45 degrees. This notch is gonna be some weird notch, because it's falling on a bend and it's just gonna be weird, but we'll make it work. Both of these are the exact same. And now we get to battle to try and get them to look the exact same in there, because it's going to be some weird notching, but shouldn't be too bad. Been trying to notch this one into 45, so when it sits here, we will tell if it's in a straight line with this back bar, which is what I'm going for. We have both of these looking real spiffy. Joints are tight, it'll TIG weld really nice. So we're just gonna wait on welding those in, because I do want to pull the body back off and make sure they're in line with what we have on here, and the body is preventing us from seeing that. But what we are gonna do next is jump over here. We're cutting this out because it really won't look that bad having some tubing sticking out. And rather than leave this here, which is basically doing nothing, we'll just cut it out of there, save some weight, and then run our tube from this very reinforced section, which is also gonna go back to here, which is gonna go to a whole bunch more stuff. But this is gonna be a great point to secure our shock on, our air shock. So we'll just cut this tube out of here, cut this tube out of here, and go from here to there. You know, you win some, you lose some. We lost these.
Rebel soul child got a fist ball, and I'm blessed on. They are not him, tell him fess up, I get check stub, hella reckless, yeah. I got next up, right? No, we not the same, cause see when I look in your iris.
Kind of looks funny, but it also kind of is what it is. I don't think it's that crazy. Definitely doesn't look that bad at all. I think it looks great.
It is right on my drip is a fountain. I'm not like these regular.
We have all 4 of these 2 front ones and the 2 back ones fit up, looking absolutely killer. All the fitment is really, really good. So, tack them they go. For the rest of the chassis. I'm gonna come down right here with a tube, just basically continue this, it'll die right here. This, I will spread the load both that way, and that happens to be the dead center of this entire tub. So that really just brings everything to one major intersection, which spreads the load everywhere. I think I'm gonna repurpose these 2 tubes that I just cut off for right here, and make them die into this, and then I will have this eventually go there, but right now I'm not sure what we're doing with all that, so I'm gonna leave it alone. But we will finish this, and then that is most of the chassis. It's like a lot of the chassis, some serious progress. Sounds solid to me. Loud too. So we're just gonna go ahead and cap this rear. Well, we're gonna put a bar in between the rear, which will really tie the whole rear end together. Since the front end is pretty much tied together, there should be no reason we should leave this out. So this is 20, it's like just under 25, 24 and 15/16. We're gonna measure the same distance, which was here to here. Mark 24 and 15/16. And then this is just how I make my nice consistent circle around this thing. Wrap a piece of paper around and use it as a trace template. I should probably 3D print one of these now that I have a 3D printer. Boom, just like that. We'll cut that with the bandsaw. It's good to go. Perfect. Dude, this looks sick. Dude, this is the one tube I didn't prep. That's why I prep all my tubes, because you never know where you're gonna die in a tube. But we have this working and looking really good. Follows down this. Maybe I'll finish this tube with some little dumb thing just so I have no dead ends. I know dead ends equal dead people. But again, like I said, we're gonna go from this, spread the load to either of these corners, and it really is just gonna, all of this is gonna be a chassis. Lots of triangles, lots of support. So just need to make one more for the other side and clean this up, because I didn't clean it up before, and we'll weld them both in, and it's looking freaking snazzy. That's her. That's it. I did it. Yay! And just like that, this thing is looking like a freaking unit. It's solid, not going anywhere, and it is small and huge all at the same time. This is, you know, kind of sort of where we'll be sitting, except a little higher, you know, with the engine and transmission and stuff in my way. Roll cage is gonna, my wife's gonna be right here, looking real good. The dogs will probably not be with us in this vehicle, unfortunately. But all things considered, this thing's sick. So there's the body, there's the engine, there's the OG mini Jeep that made it all, you know, where the thought came from. So yeah, next episode, we're hopefully gonna get the engine, transmission, transfer case mounted. We're gonna get the rest of the bracing we need, because I can't do some stuff until we have all that mounted. And I think we're gonna start on some suspension stuff, which is absolutely sick. Because once we have like axles under the frame, put wheels and tires on the axles, and the engine will be in there, which means we need drive shafts and some steering stuff, and then it's a freaking car. It's a whole car. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Please go buy some stuff off the website. We're almost out of what we have now, and when we get out of this, we're gonna do a huge order and have a whole new restock on merch. I think it's gonna be really sick, the next stuff we have coming up. And if you want, you can go to Patreon, subscribe on Patreon, subscribing on Instagram or following on Instagram is really nice, following on Facebook. And if you can hit up efwfab on Instagram and follow them, as soon as they hit 1,500 followers, they promised they'd send us a full 4x8 table. And obviously, even though this is small, it's much bigger than our 2 or like 3x5. So anyway, again, thanks for tuning in, and hope to see you guys back next time.